Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this material today. We're going to unpack a truly fascinating concept detailed in our source material, which is Big Bar Tech's Subliminals Mind. This is presented as a shortcut to what they call ultra-thinking and total life transformation. We're going to break down the exact methodology they use, looking at how their technology supposedly works to quite literally hack your subconscious. It's this brilliant blend of psychology and audio tech, so let's just jump right in.
But first, let's start with a question that I think literally all of us can relate to. Why does willpower almost always fail? I mean, think about it. You set a goal, maybe you want to improve your health, fix your finances, or totally revamp your lifestyle. You start out strong, relying entirely on your own sheer will. But eventually, you hit a wall. The frustration is so real, and it happens to almost everyone. Why is it so incredibly hard to just force ourselves to change? That brings us to Section 1, the 95% problem. To understand why we struggle so much to change our habits, we really have to look at the hidden forces that are actually controlling our everyday actions. And the research behind this method reveals an absolutely massive imbalance. 95% of our lives are governed entirely by subconscious programming. Only a tiny sliver, just 5%, is your conscious mind. That massive 95% chunk, that is where your limitations, your ingrained habits, and your deepest fears live. It dictates almost everything you do without you even realizing it. So here's the crucial point. Willpower is basically a function of that tiny 5% conscious mind. When you try to change your life using only willpower, you're using a very limited resource to fight a massive, deeply rooted 95% system of old programming. It's an exhausting, uphill battle against yourself, making failure almost inevitable. You aren't weak. You're just outmatched by your own internal wiring.
Section 2. Bypassing the gatekeeper.
So, if the conscious mind is so small, you might be wondering, why can't we just slip some positive thoughts past it into the subconscious? Well, that's because of the gatekeeper. The conscious mind acts as a stubborn, highly defensive filter. It actively scrutinizes incoming information, and if that information contradicts what you currently believe to be true about yourself, the gatekeeper blocks it. It simply will not let it through to the subconscious. To really visualize how this gatekeeper works, let's look at an example straight from the source. Imagine you look in the mirror and tell yourself, "I am successful." But deep down, your current programming makes you feel like a failure. The gatekeeper hears that affirmation, immediately disproves it based on your current feelings, and rejects it entirely. The positive message just bounces right off. And this is where the core philosophy of this methodology completely shifts. Think about the traditional approach of willpower. It relies on the conscious mind, it's highly limited, and it faces intense resistance from that gatekeeper. Now contrast that with the subliminals approach. The goal here is for it to be effortless, to achieve direct access to the subconscious, completely sidestepping that high resistance. But how do you actually do that? Let's get into Section 3, hacking your operating system. To see how Big Bar Tech's method actually infiltrates the brain to install new code and bypasses the gatekeeper entirely, we have to look at one very specific number, 17,500 hertz. The developers embed powerful positive affirmations at this extremely high frequency. Because the frequency operates at a level that simply doesn't trigger conscious scrutiny, these messages completely bypass the gatekeeper. Your conscious mind doesn't even realize the information is trying to get in, so it never raises its defenses to block it. I actually love the tech metaphor used in the source material for this. Think of your subconscious as your internal operating system, your OS. Just like the OS running quietly in the background of your computer or your phone, your subconscious is running the background processes of your life. And just think about what this operating system actually controls: your emotional reactions, your habits, and your automatic behaviors. By using that 17,500 hertz frequency, you are feeding new code directly into this OS. You're quite literally swapping out the code that drives your life. So instead of fighting yourself, you start automatically acting in line with your goals, whether that's better health, improved finances, or just a totally new lifestyle without any conscious effort. Section 4. The power of masking. Getting the signal past the gatekeeper is brilliant, sure, but you also need to make sure the environment is perfect for the brain to actually accept and integrate this new code. You see, you aren't just listening to a high-pitched frequency on its own. The affirmations are cleverly hidden or masked behind soothing environmental audio, like raindrops, waterfalls, or steady white noise. Because it's just relaxing audio, the app actually allows for both active listening while you work or study during the day and dedicated sleep listening at night. This makes the experience pleasant, obviously, but it serves a much deeper neurological purpose. The masking audio actually actively shifts your brain out of its busy, alert waking state and lowers it into deeply relaxed alpha or theta brainwaves. The sounds aren't just there to sound pretty, they're a functional tool to change your brain's physical state.
And why does that matter? Well, because in that relaxed alpha or theta state, your subconscious becomes hyper-receptive. The subliminal messages don't just slip past the gatekeeper. They land in an environment that is incredibly open to new programming. The new affirmations instantly become a part of your internal truth, rather than just being viewed as a claim to be analyzed. It makes the method not just comfortable, but extremely powerful. So let's bring the whole shebang together. The three-pillar methodology behind the apps Big Bar Tech is currently developing works like this. Step 1, bypass the stubborn gatekeeper using the stealth 17,500 Hz frequency. Step 2, directly reach the operating system that dictates 95% of your life. And step 3, drastically increase receptivity by masking the frequency with sounds that shift the brain into relaxed alpha and theta waves. This exact methodology has resulted in some incredible user testimonials from people breaking deeply ingrained habits, and Big Bar Tech has scaled this into a massive library. There are 215 tracks in total, with over 130 available directly in the app. And get this, all of this subconscious hacking is accessible for just €7.99 a month or €49 for an entire year. It is a really elegant, technology-driven approach to habit change.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer. And I want to leave you with a provocative question to think about based on what we've just learned. If you could seamlessly rewrite your own internal operating system today, without the exhausting fight of willpower, what code would you change? Think about your own habits, your own fears. What reality would you program for yourself? Thank you so much for joining me as we unpacked this incredible look into hacking the subconscious.